Hello everyone and welcome to a game I'm pretty sure you guys knew I would cover. I started receiving notifications on my phone about it before it even finished. You guys really started spamming that hashtag suggestion across all of my social media, and then I decided to check it out, and then I saw, of course, what was happening. And it's funny because I was planning on showing an Arjun game today, as yesterday he broke into the world top 18. He overtook Jan Krzysztof Duda as the world number 18 in classical chess, which is absolutely spectacular. And he did it with a miniature. I think it was an 18 move miniature against the grandmaster. So that was truly incredible. But then I logged in today and I decided to check up on Arjun and what he's doing, and I'm like, okay, he's like playing. He's playing like a madman, and it's time to show another game. And you guys will enjoy this one. It features a Nimzo-Indian defense against a very, very strong Grandmaster Rinat Jumabayev. We've covered several of his games on the channel, and if you guys remember last year in the FIDE World Cup, he defeated Fabiano Caruana in that wonderful game with the black pieces that we've covered. Very, very strong player. So let's check it out. It's quite the game, and well, no more talking. So here Arjun opens with d4. We have knight to f6, pawn to c4, we have e6, and as advertised, the Nimzo-Indian defense is on the board. We have bishop to b4, and usually you will see e3 here. Queen to c2 is very popular. Those two are basically the most popular replies to the Nimzo-Indian. a3 also very popular. We've seen knight to f3, but one move that is also quite popular, but we just haven't seen it all that much lately, is the Kmoch variation, and that is pawn to f3, preparing to grab the full center with e4. And interestingly, Arjun already played this against the current world number 17 in classical chess, against Linear Dominguez Perez in the Olympiad that ended not so long ago, and he defeated Linear with this variation. So let's see how Jumabayev prepared for this. We have pawn to c5, challenging the center, pawn to d5, and now b5. This is the most modern way of challenging this setup. You go after the c4 pawn, and then you try to weaken the d5 pawn. So pawn to e4, strengthening the d5 pawn. We have d6, and now we have pawn to a3, challenging the bishop, bishop back to a5, and now bishop to d3. We have castles by Jumabayev, knight to e2, and now e captures on d5. So this has all been played before. C captures, now pawn to a6, defending the b5 pawn. Arjun castles, and now there is a game where h6 was played, but here we have knight b to d7, and it is now, as of move 11, that we have a completely new game. And this is how Rinat is preparing to challenge this setup by Arjun. So bishop back to c2, and now we have rook to e8. And how do you challenge the black setup here? It seems like you have this very nice center. Okay, not all that much to worry about, but how do you actually push for something? Well, if you put this position to an engine, it will give you all sorts of fancy ideas like h3, like knight to g3, like a nice prophylactic king to h1. So those are some of the options that the engine really likes. But here Arjun just plays g4, and this is a very interesting decision, as now you can see that black's pieces aren't really that ready to defend the king side. The bishop is on a5, the bishop blocked by the knight. The knight is coming to e5, but you are ready to dislodge this knight with g5. So black will have to throw in a few moves before he can start properly defending, and your bishop pair is very, very strong. The queen has very clear ways of entering the game. The knights can enter a game. For example, this knight can come to g3, this knight can be shifted to f4, maybe g3 to f5. So many ideas here. So here we have h5 by Jumabayev, preparing stopping g5, and now knight to g3. We have knight to e5, also very, very good square for the knight, and knight c to e2 now, preparing to bring the knight over to f4. We have bishop to b6 now, preparing some nasty discoveries, and a nice king to g2. We have pawn to c4, and now bishop to d2. Now Arjun is bringing this bishop over to c3 to grab hold of this diagonal, and now knight f to d7, shifting this knight over to c5, and then of course to d3. If this knight lands on d3, this will be a monster knight. So bishop to c d3, and now knight to c5, getting ready to play knight to d3, and now we have h3. And now it seems like you really want to put that knight to d3, but once you put it, you're not really threatening anything, and well, it's probably one of those that the threat is stronger than the execution type of positions where it's just best wait with knight to d3 and improve your position as much as possible. But it's hard to find the move that actually improves the position for black. So here, of course, Jumabayev is preparing knight to d3, or maybe this knight to d3, the bishop is controlling this diagonal. So he throws in a nice queen to h4, and it makes sense to bring the queen here. So close to the white king, good things might happen. But now comes queen to d2, just nicely developing the queen, preparing to bring the other rook into the game. Obviously not that way, probably d1 or e1, or depending on what black plays. We have bishop to d7, and now comes knight to d4. And now, what do you play here? Well, best is to just go back, queen to d8, but it's hard to play such a move. You play the Nimzo-Indian, you wanna counterattack, you wanna feel good about your position, and your knights are placed beautifully here. You have a beautiful dark square bishop, you have a beautiful light square bishop, your queen is on h4. So this seems like a very odd move to play, but it is needed. You have to move the queen back because well, it just serves no purpose here, and after the move that was played in the game, it serves even less purpose here. Jumabayev played g6, and it makes sense. It takes away the f5 square from both the white knights, but it has one very, very big flaw, and that is that it completely loses the game. But you have to find a exactly precise order and set of moves in order to pull this off. So feel free to pause the video and try to find the winning idea for Arjun while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting this spectacular idea. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is pawn to f4. That's the good stuff. Challenging this knight and just saying by playing g6, you've created a big problem, because now the h6 pawn is a weakness. And it seems like you might have some sacrifices here, but you really don't. For example, if you go knight captures on g4, h captures on g4, you could capture, let's say bishop captures on g4, but after rook to h1, there's really no way to take advantage of this. After rook h1, you're just much worse. There's no good move you can make here. So instead, after f4, we have knight e to d3, like we mentioned in that line, only now that the queen is here and that you've played g6, it's just bad, because the pawn on h6 is undefended. So here, bishop captures on d3, knight captures, and now knight to f3, kicking away the queen from the active square. Queen back to d8 from where it came from, and yes, those are just some of the lines and squares that white is controlling. You can see that white is all over the place here, and now of course pawn to f5, and that's the exact set of moves that you had to see and find in order to win this. When I asked you to find that beautiful pawn to f4 push, so here. G6 is attacked, H6 is attacked, the bishop controls this diagonal, so there's really no way to defend this for black. G5 was played. It's kind of the lesser of not two evils, but of many evils, because there are too many threats here. So G5, this stops the threat of just capturing on H6, but now pawn to f6. You could also go for h4, just captures, and rook h1 to grab hold of the h file, but f6 gets the job done. And the situation on the clock is 19 minutes for Arjun, and Rinat has some 15 minutes on the clock. And here, what do you play? There's always the question of knight f4 check. Do you want to throw this in? But if you play it, again, king h2, not all that much to play for. For example, king h7, rook a to e1, and black really does not have a move. There's really no useful move you can make here, like rook a7, just knight captures on g5, and the white breaks through completely. Now you've even given him, white a target. For example, h captures, rook captures on f4, g captures, queen captures on f4, and there's no defense. There just queen g5 with queen h5, and that's it. There's really no way that you can defend this. And if you play something like rook to g8, then g5 is coming, and I mean, it is just a really big mess of a position. So instead, after f6, Jumabayev says, all right, I can't really allow this to happen. I'm going to have to give up the exchange. He plays knight to e5, and now just bishop captures on e5, d captures on e5, and still, it seems like, okay, now you don't really have knight captures on g5 because the queen can capture on h6, but that's exactly what Arjun plays. He plays knight captures on g5. Now the rook defends the f6 pawn, and there's really no good way to do this for black. If h captures on g5, just queen captures on g5. Of course, black gets checkmated. So here Jumabayev has to figure out how to play this. He plays knight to f4 with check, but of course Arjun immediately captures it. And this is the only winning move for white, but he calculated it many moves ago. So he captures, queen captures on f4, and now bishop to d4, trying to snatch up that f6 pawn, but just e5. And now look at these pawns. This is just incredible. Even giving up the knight on g5, but again, it's you can never capture this. So bishop captures on b2, attacking the rook, but Arjun says no problem, just knight captures on f7. And now what do you play? If king captures on f7, then it's a matter of a very simple e6 check. For example, bishop captures, d captures, king captures on e6. Now rook a to e1 check, and you are either going to suffer severe material loss and then get checkmated. If you go to the default, then let's say rook d1 will win the queen, or if you go to f7, then just rook e7 check, and again king to g7, rook to g7 check. There's nothing for you to do here. King f8, queen captures. Now all sorts of nasty discoveries will follow, and that's just it. So instead of this, after this wonderful knight captures on f7 move, we have queen to f8. As the queen was attacked on d8, you have to play something, but now knight captures on h6 with check, king to h7, and now even pawn to g5. I mean, look at this, pushing those pawns, sacrificing an entire rook on a1, but of course everyone realizes that there is no surviving this. So bishop captures on a1 was played. This is not a good move, but there is no good move in the position. So just bishop captures on a1, queen to e4 with check. We have king to h8, and now queen to g6. Now threatening knight to f7 check, which will force black to give up the queen. So bishop e8, kind of the only way to keep an eye on f7, but now just pawn to f7. We have bishop to c6. You have to play something. You have to give back a little bit of material. D captures. Now comes bishop captures on e5, but now just knight h to f5. And it was in this position on move 39 that Rinat Jumabayev resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. All of the squares here are covered. Knight covers g7, pawn covers g8. There is no defense. Queen to h5 check will force black to give up the queen, and then of course black just gets checkmated. So it's pointless to continue. Jumabayev resigns, and another spectacular victory for Arjun Erigaisi, who just keeps piling up win after win after win. And this is a classical event. I forgot to change the little B on the robot, so sorry about that. I'm gonna do it now. I don't want to finish the video with a B on the robot. You know, it might be weird. So let's do that now. All right, there's now a C there. So it's a classical game. In case, yeah, if some of you don't know, yeah, the letter on the robot actually states the format of the game. I'm just gonna check something real quickly. I want to see if the ratings got updated. Oh, he actually wow, he actually jumps the numbers. Okay, this is pretty crazy. He actually jumps to number 16. Yeah, because today is the first of the month, so he jumped to number 16 from number 18. I'm just gonna update it really quickly so you guys can see it, because this is I mean, this is just incredible stuff. It will take me like maybe 10 seconds, so stay tuned for that. Wow, this is I did not see this coming. Like, this is I knew he was 18, but 16, this is okay. So I don't want to trick you guys or you know, misinform you guys. There we go. All right. So these are the current world top 20 in classical chess. Let me just enlarge this a little bit so you guys can see it better. Wow. I mean, all right. From the top, it's pretty much the same, because Magnus Ding have not been playing any classical games now. We have Nepo in third, Alireza in fourth, Nakamura in fifth. You guys know that, but look at this: Arjun Erigaisi in number 16 in the world. Okay, if today wasn't the first of the month, he would have plus 50 rating change. But as today is the first and the ratings got updated, you can see now that his official rating is actually 2735. So he's now in, he was officially a 2700 player, but 2735 from the last time we checked. That's absolutely incredible. And number 16 in the world. Yeah, he overtakes Lequang Liem, Andreikin, Duda, and now to number 15, to Alexander Grishuk. It will take 10 more points, but the way he's playing, I don't know. We could see him at the top 10. I mean, it would be, if he overtakes Anand as the number 1 Indian player, that will literally destroy the entire internet. So yeah, that's the game. Thank you guys for suggesting it. Like really a tiny mistake in the Nimzo-Indian here after this knight to d4 move. Just this g6 move was okay. Queen here wasn't all that impressive. You could try something else, but yeah, after this queen came here, just g6 was played, and then the h6 pawn became vulnerable, and of course the f4 move exploited it. So I mean, beautifully played Nimzo-Indian, but the queen, even though you feel the queen belongs on h4 with all of your pieces, completely sort of slicing and dicing through white's position, the queen just did not belong there, and Arjun took advantage of that perfectly. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for suggesting it so quickly. I mean, way before it even finished. I very much enjoy when you guys suggest good games so quickly. I would like to thank Uzi Shalev, Frederick Karaher, Petru Gabriel, Gerald Watts, and Wood for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing checking up on your wonderful suggestions, such as this one and whatever else happens in the chess world. I have one more game plan that I wanted to show, but obviously we will be checking up on Arjun, as he is just unstoppable these days. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And sorry it took me a bit longer to actually show you the world top 20. Because I did prepare it before the video, but it just got updated during the recording of the video. So I checked, and then you know what I'm talking about. See you soon.